Hello everyone, I'm Vittorio. Welcome to a CodeBeaver demo. CodeBeaver is the best way to keep your code stable. So I'm opening a pull request. I've already installed CodeBeaver on my GitHub. Let's take a look at what happens when I create a pull request here. Alright, so you see that CodeBeaver is automatically triggering as soon as I open the pull request. All right, let's see what CodeBeaver told me about my pull request. So 3 tests added and 2 tests updated to reflect recent changes. Then he found 1 bug, and then he's telling me that out of 15 tests I have in my codebase, 12 passed and 3 did not, due to the bug that he found before. What that means is CodeBeaver added 3 tests. What that means is he added 3 new test files to keep track of my new code. And then he updated 2 tests that were failing due to the fact that my code updated and the tests were left behind. And he found 1 bug. So you can see here it's giving me an explanation. So let's dive into this. And let's take a look at this with a little bit more detail. I'm not gonna be talking about this for half an hour to explain every little detail. I'll do another video about that. So if you're interested in a deep dive, check out other videos. But I just wanna give you an overview. So how does CodeBeaver do this? And so the reason is simple. The reason is it is looking at my code, and it's looking at the test results, and it's looking at the comments in my code. So the secret here is that, let's take a look at my pull request, my original pull request. So had this 5 files, and it has a utils class. So for example, I have an alert manager with some functions. They're doing simple stuff. But critically here, I added a description or a comment in another language for each function, just briefly explaining what the function is supposed to do. And I've done this while developing, and it's super natural, especially if you're using an LLM or an code editor with Copilot or Cursor or anything like that. It's just easier to write down a description. So I'm doing that for every def. So this informs CodeBeaver about how your code should behave. And that's how it's able to identify bugs. So for example, let's take a look at the bug that it identified. Let's go back to here. It says found 1 bug. Then I'm gonna be talking about the test that he updated, but I think the bug is super interesting. So we found a bug in investment tracker, and it says the bug is in the register new category method. The method docstring states that it should return none if the category is a non-empty string. However, the implementation does not match the description. So you see that CodeBeaver was able to write a test for this class, figure out that the test was failing, and then it checked the original code, my code, and it found a bug. And so now it's commenting, it's telling me like, look, you may have a bug here. And it's super precise in the way that it's explaining it. You're gonna find the links of this PR, so you can check it out, it's open source. You can check out what I'm talking about in more detail. Let's talk about test updates, and then the video is gonna be finishing, but let's talk about test updates. So what CodeBeaver has done here is has decided that 2 tests in my code base were not correct anymore, meaning like the code was fine, however, the tests were still reflecting an older version of the code. So what he has done is he updated those tests. And so now those tests are passing correctly and are reflecting my new code. So now I didn't have to worry about maintaining those tests. And then he added 2 new tests. So where is all of this code? Well, CodeBeaver opened a new pull request against my original pull request. So let's take a look at it. So it's linked here in the comment. And if I click on it, you can see the summary is very consistent. And this pull request is a new one opened by CodeBeaver on top of my original one. So it's very natural to take a look at what it's doing here and reviewing the code before you merge it if you want to. So for example here, let's take a look at what CodeBeaver has done. He added a configuration file. It's going to do this only once. If you don't have one, codebeaver.yal. In this case, this repo was empty, so okay. And then he added a test alert manager. This is a new file that I didn't have. And then he wrote a test expense tracker, and he actually updated it as we were discussing. He added even some description to the tests, which I didn't bother writing, but those are meaningful. And then he added a completely new test because my code had a new function that wasn't tested yet. And if the function just changed, it would have updated it like it did here, where I updated the test, but it didn't reflect it in the code. And so yeah, so this is a very quick demo of CodeBeaver. It's free for open source repositories. We have an aggregated 30,000 GitHub stars already using it. If you're not open source, it's free for the first 14 days. Then it's $12 a month per developer. So it's a no-brainer. You should check it out. It's codebeaver.ai. If you want to see another demo, you can create one yourself. You just go to our GitHub repository you see here. It's public, and you open a pull request that, on top of it. The repository itself only has a main branch and it's empty, but if you add new code, CodeBeaver will kick in, so you will see how that looks like. This example I've showed you, it's pretty simple, but CodeBeaver works well for large and complex code bases as well. We're using it internally already, and the open source repos we're working with are super big. So yeah, thank you for watching and see you later.